To biology video lectures with Akirili Oladimiji Philip. It's my pleasure to have you with me on the lecture today. So get your writing materials as we start today's past question on that year 2016. Attempt the questions before listening to my explanations. Now it says here, which of the following conditions is not necessary for photosynthesis to take place? Now, if you can remember the equation of photosynthesis, which are these, talking about carbon dioxide, talking about water, these are very important, as well as light and chlorophyll. So all of these four are important for photosynthesis to take place. So if that be the case, then we need to look at these options here. Which of these options here doesn't belong to those four? And that would be carbon 2 oxide, which is the same thing as carbon monoxide. All right. The insect in which the maxillae, plural of maxilla, are modified into a long-coiled proboscis. Of course, proboscis are found in sucking insects. So from this option here, we actually have two sucking insects, which is butterfly and mosquito. Those two are sucking insects. Grasshopper is actually a biting and chewing insect, while housefly is some sort of sucking or lapping insect, really. But in this regard, the one that has that long, it says long coiled. So if the question I just said long, mosquito might also make some sense because also has proboscis. But say, but for the fact it says coiled, that would be butterfly. Can you see what I'm saying here? Because mosquito equally has proboscis for sucking, but it says long and coiled. So the answer is butterfly, right? So these are other type of insects, chewing insects, sucking insects, piercing insects like bugs and aphid. We have chewing and lapping, the likes of bees and all of that. All right. When a cell is placed in a solution and the size of the cell increases, the concentration of the solution is said to be what? Now, for you to put a cell in a solution and that cell got bigger in size, it means that that cell sucked in water, and a cell can only suck in water when it's placed in what we call hypotonic solution, basically. All right. So it means the cell must have been kept in a hypotonic solution. So this is the answer here. It's going to suck in water. So looking at this will help you understand what I'm saying. Looking at this first part here. So of course, if you place a cell, that means the concentration outside this cell is quite lesser. The solute in that water or in that fluid, in that solution is lesser than the content of the cell. So the cell will keep sucking in water. Then if it's not taking, it can actually burst if it's an animal cell like we have here. But for plant cell, it won't burst. Why? Because it has, or it won't rupture, it has a cell wall which is quite thick. All right, so looking at these other diagrams here, you're going to see isotonic means the concentration of the solutes in that solution around that cell is the same with the cell itself. So water is going to go in and out and there won't be any change. But if it is kept in an hypertonic solution, which means that the surrounding surrounding solution is quite concentrated, that means water is going to be sucked out of the cell like that, and the cell is going to shrink. Again, the plant cell, not the whole cell, shrinks because of the cell wall, but the inside part, which is the cell membrane, and the plasma shrinks. All right. Which of the following plant hormone is responsible for ripening of fruits? That would be ethylene. Ethylene is for ripening of fruits, basically in plant cells or in fruits, in plants. All right, it is one of the hormones. The ability of a living organism to detect and respond to changes in the environment is referred to as what? A living cell must be able to respond to its environment. That's called irritability. And that's part of what we normally call Mr. Niger Dark. Movement, respiration, nutrition. I for irritability, which means ability to respond to stimuli. Then we have growth, we have extraction, reproduction, death, adaptation, competition, as the case may be. All right. Now it says here, okay, that's all. An example of an endospermous seed. Endospermous means a seed that has endosperm, of course, and that will be found in monocot actually. It's a monocot plant that has endosperm in it. So an example of monocot from what we have here will be your maize grain. All right, so maize grain is a monocot, and that's why you have that as your answers. Other ones actually dicot as it were. So this is what I was trying to say. So this is endosperm here. This is endosperm, which provides energy and food for, that's why it's called stored food, for the growing embryo there, of which, of course, this is called dicot. So this is called dicotyledon. Sorry, this is called cotyledon, I mean to say. So we call this dicotyledon because it has two seed leaves. So these other three here are non-endospermous. What they have is cotyledon. All right, that's the difference there. Which of the following theories was not considered by Darwin in his evolutionary theory? Variation, he talked about that indirectly. Survival of the fittest was the major thing he talked about. Use and disuse, that is not part of what he talked about. That is what Jean Lamarck talked about. Competition, which is option D, is also part of what he talked about, because he said all this will continue to be in a state of struggle for existence. So it's still part of what he talked about. So, but use and disuse is what Jean Lamarck talked about. All right. Which of the following protects the essential part of the flower at a pod stage? All right, if you can remember the four walls of the flower, which is what you have on the screen here: stamen, sepal, petals, and carpel. Of course, you know that stamen is the male part, carpel is the female part, petal attract insects, or let me say attract pollinators, while sepals protect the flower. But it says here at the pod stage. So looking at what we have here, this is what it means. So this is sepals and this is sepals. So this is at pod stage. So literally, I'm coming. Just a minute. Now, literally, it's like the sepals is totally closing up the whole pod, of which when the plants start growing anyways, when the flower opens up, it doesn't do much of that whole protection, but it still protects from outside. But during the pod, it is actually the sepals that protect like the entire plant cell, as it were, entire flower there. So the answer to this question is sepals. Sepals. Which of the following is an agent of sexually transmitted disease? An agent. Okay, that means you're meant to remember the name of the diseases that each of these pathogens causes. Then you now remember, you then talk about which of them. So this causes entamoeba histolytica, causes liver abscesses. Salmonella typhi causes typhoid fever. Treponema pallidum causes syphilis, while Clostridium tetani causes tetanus. So basically, Treponema pallidum, which causes syphilis, and syphilis, of course, we know is an STD. All right, hope that is clear. Which of the following animal has homodont dentition? Homodont means that the shape of the teeth is the same, like the same. No changes, not like you're having incisor, canine, and all of those ones, just the same up and down. And that's usually found in reptiles. So this is like an example of what I'm saying. Like you can see the teeth are the same all the way. This is skull of a reptile. The teeth are actually the same. So of course, from what we have here, lizard is an example of a reptile in those options there. The movement of blood between the heart and all other parts of the body besides the lung is known as systemic circulation. It's somewhat like trying to see like this. When the blood leaves the heart from here, from the aorta, it goes around the body like that, around the whole body. So it starts from the aorta, which is from the left ventricle. So I would say start. Then the blood goes around the body and drop all its oxygen, then returns back to the heart by the superior and inferior vena cava. What part of that is going to enter through the right atrium? So I say this is the end. So this is the end of systemic circulation, which is, it starts from the left ventricle and ends in the right auricle or right atrium, as the case may be. Atrium, auricle means the same thing. All right, so basically, that's systemic circulation. You probably see that we didn't talk about the lungs that way. I mean, that it doesn't, all right. But the one that goes from the right ventricle, I'll put start there, and goes through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, then come back to the heart through the pulmonary vein and ends in, I'm going to put N here, and ends in the left auricle. That is pulmonary circulation. That's between the heart and the lungs. All right, hope that's good enough. So that's why we choose systemic circulation. If the cross of a red flowered plant with a white flowered plant produces a pink flowered plant, this is an example of, seriously, listen, for this kind of question, you don't need to cross anything, please. You don't have to do the RR and RR, no, or no, or having something like this. We say red is going to be this red, this is white. But what you're going to get is going to be like this. You're going to have one R like that, heterozygous red. But this phenomenon cannot be seen in crossing, really. This is called incomplete dominance. What do I mean incomplete dominance? The capital letter R represents red. The small r represents white. Now, if you mix red with white, that is pink. So why we call it incomplete dominance is that the allele for red didn't fully show as red. The allele for white didn't fully show. So that's why we call it incomplete. Like, it's not totally. So the red didn't show all the way, the white didn't show all the way. But there's something called codominance, which is A. That one means that the flower will probably have a red and a white. Codominance means that both alleles are fully expressed. You can literally see the two alleles. You're going to see the color that each of the alleles represents. So that means if it was to be codominance, it means that the flower formed from the two flower plants will have red on it and white on it, like visibly. But this one is incomplete because the red didn't show all the way, the white didn't show all the way. All right. The largest amount of yolk is found in eggs of, well, that's found in eggs of birds. Birds. Yes, they have the largest amount of yolk in them, basically. All right. Now, fibrinogen and prothrombin play important role in, now, fibrinogen and prothrombin are very important in blood clotting, which makes option B the answer. Well, let me show you something, what it means. Please don't forget this. When our blood wants to clot, it's a long, serious, it's quite complex than this. I just made it simple this way for this curriculum, for this level. Now, what happens is there's a clotting factor that converts prothrombin into thrombin. So the thrombin then go ahead to convert fibrinogen to fibrin. So it is this fibrin that looks like, it's going to look like a network, like net, like that. So in between the small spaces left within the net, that's where the platelet and some other structures will block, and that will create a platelet block or clot. Sorry, platelet plug, or let me say platelet clot, so to say, on that space. So the point is, prothrombin will convert to thrombin. Thrombin will convert fibrinogen to fibrin, and that fibrin will look somewhat like a net, like that. So this net will now be filled up with what? The platelets, which will then which will help to seal the mouth of the wound or the opening. So you can see what happened. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. All right. You can pause the video to see this some more. The pathogen that causes smallpox is that's varicella virus or something like that. Okay, that belongs to the pox family. That's pox virus family. The answer is D. All right. The vector for malaria parasite is, I love these options. If you've seen my lecture before on some of this, I made mention of something, but I'm going to say that again now. Now, you need to remember the fact that mosquitoes, really, if you're hearing for the first time, don't eat blood. Take note of what I said. I said, don't eat blood. They suck the blood, but they don't eat it. They use the blood to incubate their eggs, basically. So what that means is that it is only the female that needs to get pregnant with eggs that then goes around to suck blood. So which means that it is only female mosquitoes that causes diseases. All right, so you can have, these are other diseases. I want to pause this and see types of mosquitoes and the kind of disease they cause and all of that. Now hear this. So he says malaria here. He says female Aedes, female Anopheles, female Culex, female Culex mosquito. Okay, that's even twice. So the answer is female Anopheles. Let's assume the question just says Anopheles, and you have in the option you have female Anopheles, you have male Anopheles, you have Anopheles. The answer is female, because the male Anopheles is actually they are in the bush sucking plant juice, so to say. So even the female still return back to the bush to suck plant juice. That's why we are advised to keep our surroundings clean of dirt, so that you won't have to you won't give them room to be able to feed. All right, so pause the video here at this point to see more to these mosquitoes and what they could cause. All right, which of the following pairs are social insects? I told you social insects are insects that have caste system whereby an individual is adapted for different functions, such as we have here. Of course, this is the male reproductive. This is the female reproductive, which produces egg. This is the soldier that has a big head for attack. Then you can see this is the worker, which, as the name implies, it works, clean the termitarium and that. Then we have the winged reproductive, which is going to fly out when the colony is overly populated or something. So from that, the answer is termite and bee. All right, so bee is also they also have the queen, they have the drone, they have the king and all of those. So they also have that caste system, or they also called social insects. All right, of course, we also have wasp as another example of social insect. Which of the following is not a method of conserving wildlife? Indiscriminate poaching, establishment of zoological gardens, enacting wildlife conservation law, establishment of game reserves. Well, of course, indiscriminate poaching means you just go in there, taking laws into your hand, clean animals, and just go in there. All right. Well, so B to D are all correct. All right. But the first one is in the way you are trying to conserve wildlife. No. Okay. The importance of mouth brooding behavior in tilapia is that, of course, you can see the fishes here, or the young, I don't know the name given to young fish, the baby fish, so to say. You can see these ones trying to go into the mouth of the mother, and the aim is to provide or to afford protection from predation from the young, for the young fish, so to say. So they run into its mouth, so that for this period, some fishes can even go ahead to kill them, or other animals. So, but by way of running into her mouth, at least that's some sort of protection for that period. The type of asexual reproduction that is common to both paramecium and protists generally is fission, which is binary fission or multiple fission. Binary fission simply means one single organism splits into two, like that. And multiple fission means this is one single organism, then it multiplies within itself like that, then burst open to release more members. It does this when the environment is not conducive. All right, so whether binary fission or multiple fission, that common word there is fission, splitting. The microorganism that causes typhoid disease is, I think we did that not quite long, that would be Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. All right. A collection of population of all living organisms that exist in a habitat. It says all that exist in a habitat. It says all living population of all organisms that exist in a habitat is referred to as all. That should be an ecosystem. Even though the question really say it's in an habitat, of course, and the habitat is made up of non-living things, because a community means different populations, but it says here all living things plus the habitat. The answer is ecosystem. The answer is ecosystem. All right. So the communities of living things plus the environment forms an ecosystem. So this is what I'm trying to say here. So this is the ecosystem that you can see. Let's start from here. One single organism, they have population that can interbreed within themselves. You can see they look alike. The community of different, so community which is formed by population of gazelle, of zebra, of buffalo, of lions, of vulture. All right. So all of this then with their environment forms an ecosystem. The theory of use and disuse of organ was promulgated by who? Of course, that's by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. All right. That's the name of the person that said that the more you use the part of your body, the more it gets more advanced and more adapted. That is true, but the mistake he made was that he felt that can be transferred to the next generation. No, I can actually decide to start lifting weights now and doing some exercises like that. But me having more muscle doesn't mean I can give that to my child. So use and disuse is correct, but you can't transfer it because it's not controlled by any gene. Now, the theory of natural selection was postulated by that's going to be by Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin. The movement response of a cockroach from a light source. Now, hear this. Movement of animal is called taxism in the first place. When an animal is moving, whether away to or from. When I say in response to light, so light is photo. So we can say phototaxism. Now it's not saying away. That's going to be negative. Negative. I've always told you that anytime something is moving towards the stimulus, that's called positive. When it's moving away from, it's negative. So that's going to be negative phototropism. So, sorry, negative phototaxism. Sorry, not tropism. Tropism is in plants. Negative phototaxism. Which of the following can cause shrinkage of living cells? Wow, I think this is just like what we had not quite long at the beginning of the same question this year. That's going to be an hypertonic solution. I think I showed you that not quite long. This is what I'm saying. This is going to shrink. Why will it shrink? Because water is going to move out of the cell like that in surroundings fluid. So it's going to shrink. All right. That is hypertonic solution causing exosmosis. Exosmosis means water is moving out of the cell. All right. The ability of chameleon to change its color rapidly is an adaptation for, well, really, this sounds funny to me. It's there are two things. When organisms want to stay unnoticed, they do that either whether they stay unnoticed either to be able to kill their prey or to avoid predator. So both of them means now. So from what it has here, from what we have here, for example, now this is a chameleon. That's almost blending with, in fact, it's almost blending with the very twig of trees holding on to. So is it to obtain food or to escape detection? So it's actually to escape being detected. So this to escape being detected now can either be for itself, so they can be to kill its prey without noticing it, or for itself to avoid being killed. So it's to escape being detected or escaping detection. The function of the red head, a male agama lizard, is to, like this, is to, okay, that's to attract the female. So it says attract female for mating purpose. Yes, that's what it does. Yes. Though it comes out in the sun for basking to gain heat, but that red head has a way to attract the female for mating purpose. The activity of thiolane is likely to decrease with an increase in the concentration of dash. Let's analyze this out. Thiolane is an amylase. And what are amylase? Amylase are carbohydrate digesting enzyme. And carbohydrate digesting enzyme prefers to work in an alkaline medium. Like enzymes are specific in their pH. So for that reason, the mouth is alkaline. So thiolane will work in the mouth to convert starch to maltose. However, when it gets to the stomach is quite acidic, so it's going to, the effect of thiolane will stop working when it's getting in the stomach. That's why we know that there's no digestion of protein, of carbohydrates in the stomach. But the digestion of protein, because protein prefers, the enzyme that will digest protein prefers to work in acidic medium. So here it says with an increase in the concentration of acid. So the action of thiolane will stop or reduce drastically once acid is present. Seed plants are divided into, plants that have seed are divided into two, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Gymnosperm have naked seed born on a structure called cone. All right. While angiosperms have seed enclosed in a structure called fruits. All right. Of course, we know that angiosperm could then be monocot or dicot, but the first thing is the seed is actually enclosed in a structure called ovary. Sorry, in a structure called fruit, so to say. So the answer is C, angiosperm and gymnosperm. The adaptive importance of the nuptial flight from termites colonies is to do what? Yes, when you see termites, like you're seeing here, like this, flying out, or like this, I've seen this countless number of times. Why are they doing that? The aim is to disperse the reproductive in order to establish new colonies. Yes, we normally do this when the colony or this very termitarium is filled up already and the food will not be sufficient anymore. So some develop wings and fly out. So what happens is each of these, one male, one female, one male, one female, will go and establish a colony. So the male will be the king, the female will be the queen of that new colony. All right. However, most of these ones will be eaten, but the truth is some of them will still survive and truly go ahead to establish new colonies. So that's the aim of that nuptial flight. The sequence of the one-way gaseous exchange mechanism in a fish is going to be from mouth to gill, from mouth to gill, from gill to operculum. Yes. So the water comes in through the mouth. That's number one. It goes over the gills. That's number two. And comes out of the operculum. That's number three. That's why we choose mouth, gill, or operculum, or gill cover. In the nitrogen cycle, the nitrates in the soil are converted to atmospheric nitrogen by, of course, you have brought nitrogen into the nitrate in the soil. So nitrate will now be converted back to nitrogen by denitrifying bacteria. Denitrifying, that's like Pseudomonas denitrificans, basically. So see what I'm saying here. So this is nitrate in the soil. Not all of this will be used by plants. So a percentage will be, or a fraction will be converted back to the soil, so to the atmospheric nitrogen, so that the cycle can continue as it were. So basically here, that an example of the nitrifying bacteria is what I just mentioned, Pseudomonas denitrificans. All right. The relationship between a termite and a protozoa is in its intestine is described as what? Well, the truth is the protozoa helps the termite to digest some of its food, and termite gives the protozoa a shelter, and that we can say it is mutualism. But mutualism isn't part of what is here, so we can manageably pick symbiosis. Why will I say manageably? Because I already told you that symbiosis simply means living things together. Then it's now divided into mutualism, which means that two of them are benefiting. Parasitism, which means one is benefiting, one is losing. So the benefiting one is the plus, which is the parasite, and the losing one is the host, which is minus. Then it can also be commensalism, which is commensalism can be 0 and plus. The 0 is the organism that is not affected nor gaining, while the plus is the one that is gaining. All right. Exoerythrocytic phase of the liver of the life cycle of malaria parasite occurs in the what? When we say exoerythrocytic, means outside the red blood cells, and that will be found in the liver of humans. So that's found in the liver. You can see that here. This is the liver stage, but this is within the red blood cells. That's why it says the exo, which means the outside red blood cell location, that is in the liver. Which of the following organ regulates the level of water, salt, hydrogen ions, and urea in the mammals? Of course, the one that does that really is the kidney, that regulates water balance, electrolyte balance, and all of that together. The rate of transpiration is not affected by what? The weight of the stomata, or no. Humidity affects rate of transpiration. The lesser the humidity, the more the transpiration. Temperature, of course, the higher the temperature, the more the transpiration. Then the size of the stomata pore. Of course, if it's wide, transpiration will be faster. It's like you're having a bigger hole for evaporation to take place, which is transpiration in the case of plants. The crossbreeding of individual of the same species with different genetic characteristics is called inbreeding, because the same species. You are just probably, this one is the same species. Imagine you are crossing a white dog with a black dog. So it's the same dog because they're the same species, but you are trying to get different characteristics, like, okay, this one is red, this one is white, let me cross and see what happens. The hereditary characters in plants and animals are located in the structure called nucleus. Oh, sorry about that. This in the structure called nucleus. Nucleus. That must have been a typographical error. Nucleus, please. The arrangement of ovules attached to the side of a syncarpous ovary with a single chamber is referred to as. Actually, I believe you know that the arrangement of ovules in the ovary is referred to as is actually referred to as placentation, as it were. All right. So basically, this type of placentation that's going to be parietal. That's going to be parietal. Yeah, it's attached to like swollen wall like that. This is like that. That's parietal. All right. When a sickle cell carrier marries a normal woman, the probability of them having a normal offspring is okay. So if somebody is having, this is the hemoglobin, HBA, HBS, because it's having it. So this is a trait for SS there. And marries a woman who is normal, that's going to be HBA, HBA, or for sure just write AA and AS. If you cross this out, it's gonna be AA, AA, AS, and AS. And it says, say, what's the probability of them having a normal child? Of course, this is normal child. This is 1 and this is 2. So that's going to be 2/4. That should give us 0.5 if you punch your calculator. So your answer is C. All right. In which of the following group of vertebrates is parental care mostly exhibited? If not absolutely, that is mammals. Actually, the mammals. Now, bear this in mind. Apes also does that, but it's more common and more long-lasting in mammals. All right. An example of a non-biodegradable pollutant is pollutant that cannot decay. I think that should be I think it should be dung can decay, bones can decay with time, but ceramic, I think I will work with ceramic, please. Work with ceramics. The bacteria that is found in the root nodules of leguminous plant is, that should be rhizobium. Rhizobium, that helps to fix nitrogen for the legume, and the legume in return feeds it. So this is what we are saying here. The nitrogen in the soil is converted to the nitrogen in the air is converted to nitrogen to nitrate, or to what the plant can work with. In the same vein, this plant will photosynthesize and give some food, or provide some food and shelter to the bacteria there, which is rhizobium. All right. So it's a mutualistic relationship. Which of these organisms partly digests its food extracellularly? It says partly extracellularly. Okay, this should be spider. Why? When a spider catches its prey, it's going to wrap it with the silk, with a web like that, and do that. After some time, it's going to inject, like you've seen here, it's going to inject this fly with a type of fluid that will basically reduce, with digestive enzyme, please let me say that again. It's going to release digestive enzyme into the body of the fly, and that's going to digest the fluid inside the fly's body, and afterwards is then going to suck in the content of the digested thing like that. So what you're going to have is going to be like an empty shell, so to say, of these arthropods. But before that, then this arthropod is going to have everything. This side is going to have everything intact, but it's going to inject it with digestive enzyme, which will digest the content of this fly, which this will then suck in. So it's not as that's why sometimes if you look around your houses, you may actually see empty cases of flies around, and that's because the plant, the spider has sucked out the nutrient from such flies. Strong, short, and conical beak to pick and crush seeds. It's an adaptive feature of organisms, of birds that eat seed, and this is an example of that. Cracking seed. And this is conical and short and strong, and that's going to be found in weaver bird. Duck has a flat mouth, like you are seeing here. Owl is carnivorous, so the mouth is sharp and hooked. Then hawk also, but Weaver bird is a seed eater, which is a herbivore as it were. The path followed by air as it goes through the lungs is, so if you breathe in like that, it goes to your pharynx, from your pharynx to your larynx, from your larynx to your trachea. So the first one we're looking for is the one that starts with trachea, which is C and D. Then from the trachea, it goes to the bronchi, from bronchi, it goes to the bronchioles, and from bronchioles, it goes to the alveoli, which makes C correct. All right. Now, the part of the mammalian ear responsible for the maintenance of balance is the vestibular system, which is here. This very part is called semicircular canal. All right. So this part here, that's where you have, so it's within your vestibular system that you have semicircular canal. All right. So let me say that again. Vestibular system is big, that contains a lot of things, but the part of that is the semicircular canal. All right, so the answer is D. Now, which of the following organisms represented are notable agricultural pests? That should be 1 and 4. Yes, that's option B. This is the caterpillar, which is the larval form of butterfly. That's very destructive, and this could be locust or grasshopper. Either way, they are both biting and chewing that can destroy the plant's produce and all of that. All right, that will be all for now. Hope you've been able to get some of those things clearly. So I'm going to see you in the next year, 2017. Bye-bye.